A reflection for the Wednesday of Holy Week. One of the strange aspects of the strange times we're living in this Holy Week is having to avoid people when you're out on a daily walk, stepping off the pavement or moving aside to the right distance away. The whole idea that other people might be a threat, or I might be a threat to them, is a very odd way to be regarding other human beings. Our natural inclination in most circumstances is to view other human beings as a source of companionship and comfort, not to feel that we might be harming them or they us. One of the readings for the Wednesday in Holy Week seems uncannily relevant. John 13, verses 21 to 32, is an account of the final moments of the Last Supper. Jesus is troubled in spirit and says, "One of you will betray me." The fear that we might betray one another is one of the most insidious aspects of coronavirus. In our own circumstances, we can identify with this feeling of being troubled in spirit. Normally, when we're troubled in spirit, as individuals or as a community, we would look to be sharing our concerns in worship and fellowship, in the particular setting of our ancient churches. But this is not available to us, and it seems very odd to think of them being empty and silent for so long, especially in Holy Week. As Philip Larkin says as he enters an empty church in his poem, Church Going, there is a tense, musty, unignorable silence. I'm sure neither of our churches are musty. They've been active for far too long to have that condition. But the key word here relating to the silence is unignorable. A sense of isolation can be at once painful and yet a way through to the communion amongst ourselves and in the sacraments, which we took for granted in what seems now a previous way of life. The silence is not to be ignored. Jesus sought silence in the Garden of Gethsemane after the Last Supper. Our enforced isolations and the silence of the empty churches is not a betrayal. It is part of this year's journey through Holy Week, towards eventual communion with each other and the connection that comes with sharing the bread and wine, even though we won't be physically together on Easter Day itself. Later in the poem, Larkin writes, "It pleases me to stand in silence here. A serious house on serious earth it is." And later that someone will forever be surprising a hunger in himself to be more serious and gravitating with it to this ground, which what he once heard was proper to grow wise in. This is a serious time, but as Larkin realizes in his visit to the empty church, there is something profoundly important to human identity and flourishing in the unignorable silence. This is true also of the silences of our own isolation. Just like Holy Week, this is a stage on the journey towards Easter. Neither the silence nor the isolation of the church building, nor our own silences and sense of isolation, are empty. They are accompanying us towards Easter and are part of the same experience. Around us are many examples of grace, unconditional love, which, thanks to modern technology on TV and the internet, are shared with us. And these also accompany us on the journey, alongside the silence and isolation. I find great encouragement, even if it is quite mysterious to me, how people find this courage. In Harry Williams' words, speaking of the power of love in his sermon on the true wilderness. "We look," he says, "at the travail of our souls, And Lent, in this case, I think we might rephrase it as Holy Week, is really Easter in disguise.